Well, let's see if Luminosity can adjust here as we get into Game 2 picks and bans. Luminosity was very concerned about Paul in the last one. As you mentioned, they banned away the Uller, they banned away the Freya. We'll see if they want to make a change this time around and go for a different look there for them. As we've got a different look right now.
I know.
That's us.
Zapman with a triple kill as well to end things off in that game number 1, doing a good job in that last Phoenix Siege. And we're back.
We're back. Mercury banned away by Trifecta yet again. Focus out on Weekend as Uller first banned by Luminosity. I'm surprised that they're willing to first ban the Uller, because usually when you're going for a target ban that's a little bit different from the meta, you hold it as late as you can, so the enemy team can't construct their bans appropriately in response. This time they'll ban the Chernobog, leave open the Freya, and I'm guessing Trifecta is going to pick the Freya right about now.
Yeah, but now Pele is open, as well as Baron, Samani. So with those three, between the Freya and those two, LG specifically banned away the Chernobog, wanting the other two, but instead going for the Amaterasu yet again. I really want to see Inbowned play this god instead of Kiki.
We'll see if that's going to be the call. Kiki definitely the jack of all trades, can do it all out of the solo lane. It's not like he can only play Ama or something like that. But with Pele open and doing as much work as it did in Game 1, they leave it open and go for Ama Anhur. You really think Trifecta was going to pick Anhur right away?
No, I don't necessarily think so, but they definitely will pick the Pele. Baron is still open if they really want to go for that idea. Between Freya and Baron in the same lane, it's a little dicey, but Artio is another nice additional touch. Trifecta playing it very well last game for NeiruMah.
Man, I'll say these first 3 picks for Trifecta, giving them Freya and Pele, I think that you had a good call that they leave open Pele Baron and can get down in the backswing. You give up 1 priority god to get 2. It's a pretty common tactic in second pick, and I think could have been good. But man, to give up Freya Pele like that, LG already behind the 8 ball, and they'll take the Cabrakan. Definitely planning around Trifecta picking that Pele. LG seems ready for it. Is this Cabrakan the pick that can get it done?
It's possible. Once the Pele ulti's in, then you trap her in with the Cabrakan ultimate, making it difficult for any sort of assistance or follow-up after the fact. A lot of obstacles in the way of Trifecta when you add the Obelisk on top of the Cabrakan ultimate, so it's just obstacles and walls on top of each other.
Freya can struggle in those situations as well. So I do like the idea of the Cabrakan pick. I'm curious on if that's going to be in the jungle for Weekend or in the solo lane for Kiki. Something to keep an eye out for. There's a couple hunters banned on both sides, Hoi and Neath by each team, and then a couple solos and mages banned in Chunga and Baron. Is Chiron the pick? So Luminosity going double hunter as well. This leads me to believe it's more likely to be Cabrakan in the jungle, or unless they want to go for something like an Kuang to really round out that magical damage.
I've seen Kiki play Cabrakan as well in that solo lane. Being able to just tremor the whole wave is very easy to do as long as you can secure your own blue buff after the fact. Weekend's going to need to cater to that solo lane if Cabrakan will be there.
I think Xingqian would be an attractive pick if that's going to be Cabrakan jungle. Really good against the double auto attackers, but it is the Kuang that ends up being the selection. A little bit risky, I'd say, but has that great payoff potential like Kuang always does.
No, absolutely. As long as you can find the executes, get more magical power, more lifesteal, and with how much damage, burst damage there is out of both the lanes, honestly. Cabrakan solo, Amaterasu, and what I think is going to be on her in that dueling, you can actually flip that either way, doesn't matter. There could be kill potential for Weekend early on.
The problem is if this Trifecta comp gets off on a roll, I think it'll be very difficult to stop with the Jing and the Pele and the Freya. Plenty of damage there for Trifecta, but is that enough to win Game 2? We'll have to find out. Let's throw it over to the casters so we can do just that.
Hey, it's us, the casters. How you doing, casters?
Pretty good.
You doing good?
After that first game, though, I'm not sure I could say the same about Luminosity. A lot of ups and downs in Game 1 there between the two teams, but Trifecta overcoming them all in the end, and it was kind of leaning in Trifecta's favor to begin with. The only real heads-up play Luminosity really managed to get on top of Trifecta was that Fire Giant call, but without being able to properly capitalize off of it because they were playing catch-up for so long, Trifecta still just had too much of a strong arm.
Well, we wanted to see Inbound on something a little bit more naturally tanky, and here he is on the Cabrakan, which is more naturally tanky. He is technically a Guardian, but rare is the occasion that we see him in the support role.
I actually like Cabrakan support because
okay, good, because me too.
Inbound is a more aggressive support player. I think that is a very appropriate response as well, going up against NeiruMah and Zapman, because they're a rather aggressive duo lane. And with the Cabrakan, I think it's also going to be important to try and cut off Paul, Zap, Sam with the tectonic plates.
Yeah, I think that's a good point as well. And you brought up he's aggressive. For those that didn't follow the console league, Inbowned is very much an Aurora, a NeiruMah, this type of player, where he's looking to kind of be solo lane 1.2, right? 1.5. At least try and do that. We'll see if it works out. Paul on the mid Freya, next to Gino on the mid Anhur. Certainly an interesting mid lane matchup.
Gino just wants the 1v1 trade outs with Paul. He doesn't want anybody else to come to this lane and interfere. He's probably even telling Weekend to get out of there. He just wants this boxing opportunity into Paul, and Paul doing his best. All things considered, Sam, though, not realizing, or excuse me, Gino not realizing the blink from Sam behind the back. Really well executed there from the Pele.
Yeah, classic play there from the jungler. Lets his mid lane get in a little bit of trouble, entices the opposition going a little bit too hard, and then takes advantage of it. Clout on the Chiron, another oddball pick. I'm liking it though. Long range, slow, damage boost as well on the charge. So I do enjoy that. I like Clout on the Chiron, and he's performed on it before.
Giddy up can be a little bit concerning though when up against the Artio, just because of that cripple field.
Sure.
If NeiruMah is able to interrupt Clout on that giddy up, then he could find himself in a pretty tight spot here. But I like the actual boxing matchup against the Jing Wei. I think that being able to mark anybody from that training exercise into the masterful shot is going to be some great poke damage for Clout.
Yeah, definitely. Also going to increase the chase down ability, if you will, of the opposition. Long range slows allows you to catch up. You know, the snipes really hurt when building Transcendence, so likely to see Clout go into some dangerous situations. NeiruMah aggressing onto Clout, kicks him out to the backside, stunned out as the support player. There's the Tremors, weakened on the front side, Clout on the backside, still not enough, but here comes Gino over the wall, putting Luminosity on the board.
Gino might have taken a huge chunk of his health from that T2 tower shot, but it won't make a difference. Zapman, only level 3, has absolutely nothing in his kit that he could hope to close the gap with. Sam for Soccer on the other end, he's been farming this entire time, still looking to strip away the purple buff too, but Impel not going to be able to connect with the help of Inbound. Gino feeling frisky, and Sam might have some regrets now after going a little bit too deep.
I don't know. That was a beautiful knockup from Zapman. Zapman gets Gino. Clout could be next, and he will. Double for the Hunter, and Sam for Soccer gets number 4 for Trifecta. That was a beautiful team setup right there. Sammy gets in trouble, passes off a kill to Zapman. NeiruMah's right there. Just wonderful. I love it.
Nothing more to be done there either for Luminosity. It went from being a great invade pick onto NeiruMah to Lumi not realizing just how many members from Trifecta were actually rotating into that choke point. Zap also off of that persistent gust. I want to see this one more time, in fact, and I believe we actually do have the replay ready for it because the positioning was what really mattered. Gino and Clout just get a little bit too close together, trying to get their damage off, and I love Zap here. Just keep standing, uses the beads, knows Clout's going to try to run past him into the safety of his T1 tower, just doesn't give him the chance.
So Sam is dead there if Zap doesn't knock up all 3 players. He does so, and then knocks the 3 players up and dashes to the left, predicting the escape path of the opposition. That was just a lights out play, and that's the type of stuff that routinely will impress me. We see so many high-level players execute high-level mechanics. It's the brain pathing that I want to see, and right there I got to see it.
The problem, though, is that not only do Lumi end up with a 3-for-0 trade in the end of it, we can pop in the Dragon Call. Seems like he might want to aggress here into Paul, but not going to be able to find anything just yet. Sam for Soccer, though, will make quick work of that red buff there from Luminosity, and Luminosity no longer able to continue invading onto Paul's red buff freely.
Just walking out. Not something he's going to be able to do consistently, I think. Paul's got to work on kind of keeping that for himself, and he's doing it. So Luminosity, I think, will be denied entry there from this point forward. That said, Trifecta, I think, can walk into the enemy jungle as much as they'd like. Certainly having a strong look. Paul could have been in trouble there, but instead scary messing around with Kiki. Paul safe and sound under the tower.
Gino has been trying to aggress into Paul for some time now, since the very start of this match, and it's ended up getting the better of him more than one occasion, and if he's not careful, could end up getting turned on pretty soon here by Paul, who went for the Book of Thought Rush first, so he's got a little bit of damage, but once he gets those pen boots or even the CDR boots online, these banishes are going to start being a little bit more meaningful, because the follow-up damage is going to be insane there, especially against Gino, who's so squishy already on this Anhur. Hasn't even had a chance to finish off Transcendence. Neither Hunter, in fact, from Luminosity, going for a rather heavy investment that, had they not died, wouldn't have been too unreasonable, but because they have, Zapman just cashing in with this Devo Gloves Rush.
Yeah, he's definitely got the power above his opposition right now, and the experience also lending itself in that category. 7.5 minutes in. Trifecta almost have a 3,000 gold lead wave to wave. And that, again, talk about relative. That is a large lead considering where we are in this game at the moment.
There are significantly better late game win conditions, though, for Luminosity in comparison to match 1. I think that we can on the Kuang, if Lumi are able to stalemate this game and not let it snowball out of control, then we might be able to turn things around here for Lumi later on.
Very, very true. Trifecta getting aggressive, sniffing around. Not going to really find anything. It's all Gino. Winds up with the red buff. You know, we talk. Well, here. Oh, oops. Gino going to miss and just jump away. I like that commitment to himself. Hey, I'm going for it. Whoops, I missed. I'm gone.
That's kind of the deal, though, with mid lane Anhur. You miss that impale, you're not fighting anymore. You don't get to. Unless you want to expend the Desert Fury, but if you commit on that Desert Fury, then there's nothing to stop Sam from looking to knock you up as soon as it's over. Yeah,
you got to be aware the whole time. Trifecta taking care of the enemy purple buff. Luminosity are aware, but they can't really do much about it, so they're going to have to walk away right there. Luminosity with only 1 kill so far. And I will say, at least it's in the mid lane.
It was in the mid lane, but Gino, actually Inbound is the one in a lot of trouble here. Pops the horrific emblem, but into the sprint, it's not going to have any effect here. Clout now on the escape path, but there is no escape from the bear. NeiruMah going to give him way too friendly of a bear hug, in fact, and make him go all the way back to base.
Man, you know, games like this is where commentators get called out for being biased or fanboys. Zapman's 3-0-2 at 9 minutes. How can I not just talk nicely about it? That play? Big damage again underneath the tower. This guy's just really, really impressive right now. Fun to watch, and that's always been Zapman. Zapman has had ups and downs, but he's always been fun to watch. And I think that's really what comes down to it for me watching this set here is Steve's just fun right now. It's really fun to watch him crunch people.
Trifecta have certainly crunched this dual lane. Luminosity are struggling, and they will continue to struggle for quite some time here because there's no one that's going to be able to help them out anytime soon. Clout and Inbound are just going to have to sit tight and wait and hope that Gino and Weekend can somehow make something out of nothing here. Yeah. But Trifecta are not giving them a whole lot of room to work with. NeiruMah is just doing his best to play zone duty here against Weekend. Paul, about to take out half of Gino's health.
Oh, and he does just that. Now he's in the sky. Gino has no jump. He's got no life either. Paul takes care of the mid lane on her. Meanwhile, Weekend gets pinged down to about 80%. Zapman still here fighting, but losing the fight against the assassin. Down south, Paul in trouble versus Kiki. And a whoop will separate Kiki from the ground and perhaps Kiki from the life. But San Francisco comes up first, taking out one, and there's the secondary. NeiruMah on top. It's a 3 for none. Make it 4. Zapman comes out of nowhere and RKO's Clout to the ground. 10 for Trifecta. And Luminosity have one single notch in the K column.
Like lambs to the slaughter. Weekend trying to take this boxing trade with Scary D with the paralyzing spin. Stops him short of the execution. Losses all across the board right now for Luminosity, and it's only getting worse because Trifecta, they were eating at first. Now they're just straight up feasting.
Oh my goodness. They are certainly observing today's holiday. Just out of control right now for Trifecta. This is I mean, this is a great team. This is a team. Is it more about the opposition? Is Luminosity Gaming this week with the rookie Inbowned in week number 6, or is it just Trifecta really stepping up?
I don't think that Luminosity are a weak team by any means. I think that this was just Trifecta getting the better end of Geno, and it starts from the mid lane. Once that first blood happens, we don't really know what the player mentalities are like, but that's gotta throw you off of your momentum, especially when game 1 went as one-sided as it did for Trifecta. Luminosity are already coming into this one off of a pretty bad defeat there. And for Geno to get picked off so soon from a nice blink play out of Sam, and then it really just boils down to that triple persistent gust by Zapman.
Yeah.
That just shut down legit everything that Luminosity are about to have going for them, because in an alternate reality, Sam for Soccer dies, and then Luminosity are able to punish Zapman for being too far out of position because he's by himself trying to aid the jungler that was a little bit too deep inside of Luminosity's jungle.
And then Paul dies because he made the rotation a little bit too late. Yeah, everything comes down to that single play. Wow.
And that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes in competitive play. One mistake really can just be the end of a laning phase.
And there it is. Zapman just making it happen, fighting against the jungler, and that's Dallas, baby. Number 13 for Trifecta, as the Hunter combines with the support, and the duo lane is just carrying this game. The duo lane is 8-1 and 8. Excuse me.
9.
The duo lane is 9-1 and 8 in a 14-kill contest right now.
Oh, this is starting to get a little disgusting here, Tom. Geno, thank goodness, will be kept safe because of his T2 tower, putting in a bit too much work there for Sam's health bar to handle, but Kiki is also getting forced out of the teleport just to come and provide assistance, and all that Trifecta have to do is just disengage.
I think this is a better draft from LG than game number 1. I think that Inbound is in a better position. I think everything across the board, as far as picks and bans are concerned, is better for LG, and they look worse in game 2.
There's nothing wrong with their composition. I think that this composition is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I think that they can certainly make this one work, and they could have definitely gone for that snowball potential up against Trifecta. It's just that poor execution in the early game is leading to very complicated mid and late.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's fun. I think in seasons past, we would attribute this to a snowball. You win that one team fight, and everybody's able to keep going. That's not what season 6 Smite is about. You get your position, and you have to keep winning. The problem is that Trifecta is continuing to win. They're 14-1 because they're winning every engagement they're walking into.
Someone's going to get on you for that season 6.
Oh, it's season 5.
You're in the future already.
I can't even do it during SPL happen, you know? Of course I'm going to mess it up. And I was like, season Smite. I mean...
Well, if you factor in season 0, there is technically 6 seasons of Smite. But
this is season 5.
Officially speaking. GG!
Ripping through!
MLC stealth! No one's going to understand.
Is
We've
that
seen that video so many times.
Is that your Bard impression?
It's part of it.
Can you give us a full Bard impression?
I need the video at the same time playing our intro video, and we can quote
Well,
it.
I'll back you up and be Brandon and just scream over you if you want. That might put you in the zone a little bit. Trifecta, just doing whatever they want.
I feel bad.
I mean, yeah, this is a rough game to really watch. Zapman missing 100 autos and Paul gonna steal the kill. Gotta love that one. Gotta love that one.
Come on, Kiki.
Oh, thorns! Kiki gets the kill with the thorns. Puts Zapman in the ground. Paul does pick up the kill after the fact.
Oh, Clout's actually going to get a secondary one onto Scary D here. Masterful shot, not even needed, because the T2 tower, Scary D, accepting his fate. Trifecta, they might be pretty far ahead, and Paul won't be able to catch up to Paul or Clout with the Valkyrie's discretion.
That's SML Paul, ladies and gentlemen. That's SML Paul. 1 versus 3, busting the ultimate offensively on a Phoenix.
Wait for it. Because Paul is about to have the
Oh,
craziest, I was waiting for the craziest turnaround of all time, and Paul just gets a triple kill.
Just no. That's all we need is to is to support that type of mentality. 16 and a half minutes in. It's 19-3. Trifecta are sitting pretty, 12,000 gold above their opposition. Zapman is from the 516, but he's got a 517 on a slash line. And NeiruMah, I don't know where he's from, but 6-1 and 3 is damn impressive nonetheless.
Neil's had the time of his life on this Artio also. He can pretty much go wherever he wants to, has no real problems clearing out buff camps by himself, which is also hindering Weekend and that possibility of Weekend maybe making it into the late game to play savior for the rest of his team, because as long as Trifecta refuse to let Luminosity have any farm whatsoever, they can just completely starve Luminosity here. NeiruMah has Mystical Mail on Artio. That should give you a pretty good idea.
Hey, that's the Aurora playbook.
How far ahead they are.
Aurora buys this every game. That's just Aurora.
Neil can. I know for a fact Neil could solo Clout. In a 1v1 right now, with where Neil is at in his build, he would undoubtedly manage to 1v1 both Clout and Geno.
Oh yeah,
successfully,
absolutely.
And probably not even take much damage in the process. That is the type of lead that Trifecta have right now. But Luminosity are still looking for ways back into this one, and it seems like.
Well, you know, Neil did get a solo kill. Watch. Do we have a replay of Neil's solo kill? I know they're sieging the Phoenix. I'm much more interested. Here it is. Oh, this is him against Inbound, just taking care of it. I mean, this is
Inbound just wanted the farm. He knows he's dead there.
He's sitting there just like, I'm hitting down B. Let me down B.
He didn't even get to kill the creeps in time. It feels bad for Inbound, and it's only getting worse here. Sanford are going to blink in, but not able to bring him down just yet. Those Magma Rocks aren't able to find the last couple of ticks. Scary Deed, Neil, both poked out pretty heavily here. And they might be reconsidering some of their build choices for some tankier options in terms of sieging these towers.
Yeah, it might be the case. Right now, though, Trifecta just going to look to take care of all of the towers. Right tower's gone. Mid lane tower's also gone. Tier 2 stands up here on the left side. Here's NeiruMah again, just by himself, 1 versus 2.
Oh, it goes back even further. Oh, no.
Oh, he actually gets the 1 versus 2 kill on the Clout? Oh, my goodness. So many things have happened this game. And they all have a Trifecta flag on them. Oh, man.
I don't know if I would necessarily consider Trifecta cyberbullying Luminosity. A lot of things happening. But I do love to see when teams appropriately punish.
Yeah, exactly.
Luminosity came out a little bit too trigger happy, and they were punished for it. Justifiably so. When Geno is sitting that far up on the tower line at the very start, you can't ever expect to just be guaranteed safety because you see the Freya running low on mana and low on health.
I'm with you. You know, I like watching this team. I like watching Zapman and Trifecta do their thing, but ultimately, Luminosity, I'm glad somebody's finally being punished for being over-eager. That's all. 20 minutes in, Trifecta still killing it.
These experience leads are what's really hurting Luminosity the most, though, because it's one thing to be behind in itemization, but you can typically rely on your structures to catch you up in that department for damage.
Right.
When you're this far behind in levels, however, that's an entirely different story, because then your damage output is just simply not the same. It doesn't even come down to the items at that point. You're just, Paul's level 19. Your ADCs are 14. That's a 5-level disparity between the two, and honestly, there's just not a whole lot they can do outside of trying to collapse Paul at the same time.
I mean, Neil is 2 levels above the jungler. He's 3 levels above the mid laner. Forget about the support comparison. And he's 3 levels above Clout as well. Neil at this point is a solo laner. He's dealing the damage. He's setting up his teammates, but his teammates are taking care of business anyway. There's the blink forward. Scary D looking to get the Stygian Torment. Gets a bunch of beads. Kiki takes some damage. NeiruMah tanking. They're going to retreat. Here come the minions again. Take 2 as the backdoor protections are now stripped. Well, back up again. Geno has to take care of his ultimate. But backside, Clout just can't hang with Sam for soccer. Front side, Weekend can't hang with Freya. Inside, Inbound can't hang with Zapman. And the mid lane Phoenix is going to be toasted like strudel. Luminosity Gaming, 3 kills in total. Trifecta have 22. We might see 24 before game end, but the Titan going down.
Luminosity still trying their best to defend this one. Gino gonna jump right into the heart of everybody from Trifecta.
24.
No chance of survival off of that one. Trifecta do end up fully deciding Luminosity in the end, but more importantly, they bring the set home.
20,000 gold lead. Everything pretty much just standard. Set up to win the game. And I'll bring it, I think you put it perfectly, Taco, that persistent gust. Zapman knocks up 3 players. Game's over at that point.
It's just so hard to recover. At a competitive level of play, you aren't allowed recovery periods. You mess up, and you are going to miss. That's no longer your jungle anymore. That's just where Trifecta get to pitch a tent and set up base, essentially, and that's exactly what we saw there for Luminosity. I love the way that they continue to choke the map out of experience so that Luminosity never had a chance to come back into this one. However, I do want to add that, sure, this set might have gotten away from Luminosity, but I don't think that this is the Luminosity we can expect to see performances at the placement stages. I think
agree.
that this is Luminosity, and arguably even Trifecta to a certain degree, not trying to reveal everything headed into those placement stages. Sure, it's nice to get a little bit better standings, but when you already know that you're headed somewhere, you start prepping for the future at that point, I think.
I'm with you on that. I think there's much more to be seen from LG, Trifecta, and all of the above. That's it for us at the SPL. We'll break it down one more time. It's Aggro until.
Thanks, Tom. SPL all wrapped up today. Trifecta makes short work of Luminosity. Luminosity, is it just as simple as the draft there for you, Toli?
Yes, and a little bit of just overextension. We definitely saw Gino overextended in the mid lane, which allowed the rotation out of Sanford Soccer for the early first blood. We see more aggression in the purple buff invade. A nice save out of Zapman that gets like a triple knock-up and 3 kills immediately after. It was Trifecta's game to win.
Well, despite Sam and Paul going combined 11-0 in the mid jungle on Pele and Freya respectively, NeiruMah is your MVP in this game, because anytime a support gets to 2v1 the enemy duo lane and kill them both,
yes,
chat is going to vote for them.
Oh,
it is you won't see it potentially ever again.
It's not even the 2 kills after the fact. Look what he did after the second kill. He just like waved at them in his little cute bear stance.
It is really cute though. I mean, we can all keep it real here on the SPL desk. I mean, Neil was definitely
look, it's so cute.
It's so cute. I love it.
He's gonna do it again.
I mean, at this point, he was 3 levels up against Clout and even more above Inbowned, but still, I mean, who 2v1s in the duo like that?
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. In fact, probably happens in less than 1% of the games from the support position. But when you're playing Artio the way NeiruMah has, it's really impressive stuff. And oh my god, the taunt yet again after this. I can't wait.
Get a little bear wave in there. Goodbye. Thanks for playing in the duo lane. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Neil had Mystical Mail at that point. I mean, way ahead. Really did take a page out of Aurora's book, it felt like, with that pick, because Aurora was kind of the only one playing Artio for a while. And now everyone's starting to pick it up, and for good reason. So Trifecta win over Luminosity 2-0 and look pretty darn good doing it. This Trifecta team getting some momentum right before the placements, I think, is big for them.
Especially with the loss that CLG just experienced to E United. I think that Week 6 at the end of Friday is going to be important to see who's going to secure that number 4 spot.
It will be absolutely critical. Let's take a look at those standings so you can see where everyone in NA is after Wednesday's action. Trifecta take that 4th spot, a game ahead of CLG so far. Luminosity drop to 1-8, but Splice, the big story of the day, they get their win over Space Station Gaming, and they will be your 2nd seed, automatically getting themselves to DreamHack this year.
At the beginning of the split, it was difficult to call Splice to be in that number 2 spot over Space Station Gaming, but I think halfway through, everyone was true believers of what Splice was able to bring.
For tomorrow, it's Team Dignitas up against SK and Mouse up against Obey Alliance. Those games still important to get some momentum, but I believe Europe basically all locked up. And then for Friday, Trifecta does have a game, as does CLG. So there is some potential there. If Trifecta fall and CLG win, depending on the plus-minus, there could be a tiebreaker situation.
Should be interesting. And as long as Trifecta can find 1 game over Splice, they'll lock down that number 4 seed.
Seems like a difficult task with the way Splice has played as of late. That team, again, winning today up against Space Station 2-1, and they end up taking it. And that means they're going to HRX. If you want to see Aurora and the boys, it's pretty easy for you to do so. hi-rezexpo.com, November 16th through the 18th. That's where you can find HRX. We also have an after party going on there at main event. You can go to hrxafterparty.eventbrite.com if you want to get your tickets to that one.
Should be really fun stuff throughout the whole entire weekend in downtown Atlanta.
It's going to be an absolute blast. Make sure, even if you aren't coming or in the last few days of the SPL, as we ramp up towards those placements, you make sure you will link your account with Mixer. You get that SPL Bologna skin. You get a chance to get a lot of skins. You don't have to put in any codes. It's super easy. Make sure you do that. Link your hi-rez account with Mixer as soon as possible. Totally, it's gonna be the last 2 days of the SPL already of the regular season. Can you believe that?
No.
It's been a quick fall split.
It has been.
It really has been. Excited to do it. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., though, you'll find the minor league, so make sure you tune in for that as we try and determine who's going to be top 3 in Europe. We'll determine that starting at 11 a.m. Thanks so much for watching from all of us here at Skillshot, from the casters to production. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Go ahead and peach it.